And up rose happy Damien on the morrow. Gone was all trace of malady and sorrow. He preens himself, and prunes, and combs his curls, to take the fancy of his queen of girls. To January his master in addition, he was a very spaniel in submission, and was so pleasant in his general drift (craft's all that matters if you have the gift), that people spoke him well in every way, but above all he stood in grace with May. Thus I leave Damien busy with his needs, and turn once more to how my tale proceeds. Some writers argue that felicity wholly consists in pleasure. Certainly this noble January, as best he might, in all that was befitting to a knight, had planned to live deliciously in pleasure. His house and all his finery and treasure were fashioned to his rank as are a king's, and among other of his handsome things, he had a garden, walled about with stone. So fair a garden never was there known. For out of doubt I honestly suppose that he who wrote the Romance of the Rose could not have pictured such magnificence. Priapus never had the eloquence, though he be a god of gardens, to retell the beauty of this garden and the well, under a laurel standing evergreen. Many a time Pluto and his queen, Proserpina, and all her fairy rout, disported and made melody about that well, and hid their dances, I am told. This January, so noble and so old, found walking in it such felicity, that no one was allowed to have the key except himself, and for its little wicket he had a silver latch-key to unclick it, or lock it up, and when his thought was set upon the need to pay his wife her debt, in summer season, thither would he go, with May his wife, when there was none to know, and anything they had not done in bed, there in the garden was performed instead. So in this manner many a merry day was spent by January and lovely May. But worldly joys, alas, may not endure for January, or any one, be sure. Changeable fortune, O unsuitable chance, or O unstable chance, thine is the scorpion's treacherous advance, thy head all flattery about to sting, thy tail a death, and death by poisoning. O brittle joy, O venom sweet and strange, O monster that so subtly canst arrange thy gifts, and colour them with all the dyes of durability, to catch the wise and foolish too. Say, why hast thou deceived old January, thy friend, as he believed thou hast bereft him of his sight? His eye is dark, and in grief he longs to die. Alas, this noble January, he, so generous once in his prosperity, went blind, quite suddenly he lost his sight. Pitiful loss, he wept it day and night, while fell suspicion fired his melancholy, thinking his wife might fall into some folly. His heart burned hot, he had been nothing loath, nay glad, if one had come to slay them both. For neither on his death nor in his life was she to be the mistress or the wife of any other, but in weeds of state, true as a turtle that has lost her mate. She was to live, the garments on her back, a widow's, never anything but black. But in the end, after a month or two, his sorrows cooled a little, it is true, for when he saw there was no remedy, he took in patience his adversity, save that the ineradicable sting of jealousy embittered everything. For so outrageous are the thoughts it rouses, that neither when at home or in the houses of his acquaintance, no nor anywhere, would he allow his wife to take the air, unless his hand were on her day and night. Ah, how she wept, fresh as she was and bright, who loved her Damien, and with so benign a love that sudden death was her design, unless she could enjoy him. So at first she wept, and waited for her heart to burst, and Damien too, upon the other part, became in turn so sorrowful of heart, that none was ever like him. Night and day there never was a chance to speak to May. As to his purpose, no, nor anything near it, unless old January was there to hear it, holding her hand and never letting go. Nevertheless, by writing to and fro, and private signals, Damien knew her maid, and she was well aware what he designed. And private signals, Damien knew her mind, and she was well aware what he designed. O January, what might it thee avail, though thou couldst see as far as ship can sail? As well be blind, and be deceived, as be deceived by others, are that still can see. Consider Argus with his 100 eyes, pouring and prying, yet for all these spies he was deceived, and many more I know, God wot, who sagely think they are not so. Least said is soonest mended, say no more. Now this fresh May, of whom I spoke before, took some warm wax and fashioned an impression of that same key in January's possession into the garden where he often went. Damien, who knew exactly what she meant, secretly forged a counterfeited key. That's all there is to say, but presently a wonder will befall if you will wait, thanks to this key and to the wicket gate. O noble Ovid, that was truly spoken, when you affirmed there is no cunning token, or trickery, however long or hot, that lovers could not find. For did they not, when Pyramus and Thisbe I recall, though strictly watched, held converse through a wall? There was a trick that none could have forecast. But to our purpose, ere a week is past, before July was on them, it befell that January's thoughts began to swell, incited by his wife with eager wishes to be at play with her among the bushes. In his garden, he and she alone, and so at last one morning he made moan to May with this intention. "Ah," he said, "rise up, my wife, my love, my lady free. The turtle's voice is heard, my dove, my pet. Winter is gone with all its rain and wet. Come out with me, bright eyes, my Columbine. How far, oh, how far fairer are thy breasts than wine. Our garden is enclosed and walled about. White spouse, come forth to me, never doubt. But I am wounded to the heart, dear wife, for love of you, unspotted in my life. As well I know, come forth to take our pleasures, wife of my choice and treasure of my treasures." He got these lewd old words out of a book, and May at once gave Damien a look, signaling he should go before and wait. So Damien ran ahead, unlocked the gate, and darted in as swiftly as a bird. He managed to be neither seen nor heard, and crouched beneath the bushes on his own. And then this January, blind as stone, came hand in hand with May, but unattached, and down into the garden. Came hand in hand with May, but unattended, and down into the garden they descended, and having entered, clapped the wicket to. "Now, wife," he said, "none's here but I and you are she, the creature I love best, for by the Lord that sits in... And you are she, the creature I best love, and for by the Lord that sits in heaven above, believe me, I would die upon the knife rather than hurt you, dearest, truest wife. Remember how I chose you for God's sake, not covetously, nor in hope to make, but only for the love I had for you. And though I may be old and sightless too, be true to me, and I will tell you why.